unless it just can't be there.
Yeah. And but Akil Abdul Samad goes in there. Sometimes he goes to the Islamic Center, but
Now
he is a state rep for my district.
I like him. I've got a book written by him. A book of his poetry.
And I found out that he's a vegetarian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he does that by choice.
Do you know? Well, that's good. Do you know? He's been around like this fellow Upper for a long time. Well, I'll think of it later. But he spends a lot of time at those Creative Visions.
Yeah, Akil created the Creative Visions. He started that.
Yeah.
But he has.
Jamal is the guy's name, Jamal. It's kind of a tall.
I probably.
That guy is about.
That probably describes about quite a few I know.
Wears white all the time. Is it a requirement to wear?
Not to wear that specific, but just to wear loose clothes that do not show your body shape.
Okay.
But I have probably seen him. I just may not know him by name.
Yeah, sure. There was a guy from Egypt around. His name was Ali.
Probably. There are a few Egyptians who go to the mosque that I go to. But
does it matter? It doesn't matter whether you're Shiite or Sunni.
Well, it's classified as Sunni, but I don't like to call myself Sunni. I just like to call myself a Muslim.
Yes. And you're allowed, right?
Oh yeah. In fact, it's preferred to not identify yourself by sect. It's actually better to not identify yourself by that. Just call yourself a Muslim and that's it. Yeah. Personally, I think that's just easier. Personally, I think that's just easier.
What do you think about Sufi?
Sufi is a great budding henna artist in the making. I know a girl named Sufi.
What about
the Sufi? That's a little out there.
Is Islam what you consider?
Well, it's
like
there
Iqbal.
are some practices.
Allama Iqbal, the famous poet from Pakistan, wasn't he Sufi?
I don't know. I never met him, so I can't try it out.
6 to 7 years. He's a lot on.
Yeah,
you see him on. He's been gone a while, but you could see his stuff. You could see him.
I see more of Rumi.
Yeah, Rumi.
Rumi stuff. I see that online a lot. People like to post Rumi's.
Rumi is Muslim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be Muslim to like Rumi stuff.
No, I love Rumi stuff.
But the other one that you mentioned, never heard of him. And obviously never met him.
He's a wonderful philosopher. Brilliant man. You would really enjoy reading his stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, the way he writes, he is very, very Muslim, but he is also has a pragmatic, mystical quality of it's a weird combination of words. That's why I like him. Well, his stuff, he's got translations of his stuff online. I think he wrote in. Do you study Urdu or Arabic?
No, I will stick with trying to learn Arabic, but only if it's a sufficient size.
You will stick with what?
Arabic. The Quran is in Arabic, And Urdu is a similar language, but I'm not going to mess with that. And then Farsi is another related language.
And the Quran was transcribed in Arabic.
Yeah, it came.
Does it have one transcriber, or did it have
Well,
several?
it came down.
It sages, right?
Well, it came down in pieces, and then because Muhammad was not literate, he dictated it to others who wrote it, and then it was copied and copied. But every copy was checked against the first copy, against the very first writing. Because accuracy was the utmost importance. I mean, you see what happened to the translations of the Bible. There's so many variants.
True, but I don't think the two texts have the same purpose.
Yeah.
At all.
But when you try to translate from the original, when you try to translate from the original language to another language, especially from Arabic, which has so many nuances that English just can't do.
I've got three different English translations of the whole thing. And I don't get any of it. I mean, I just don't get it. It just...
Do you have the ones with explanations?
There's a book out that I need to get. Somebody recommended to me. I really need to get it. It's called Approaching the Quran. It's for English speakers. And I think I need to. I'd like to understand it. It would seem to me that reading it in Arabic would be a very different experience than reading it in English. It just seems so repetitive in its warnings, that I just didn't get the spiritual side of it. And but the first time I read a lot of different scriptures, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but a friend of mine is a brilliant coder, mathematician, and he was telling me about all the mathematical sort of miracles in the Quran, which I guess there are many. But there's also the idea that Islam is provable, and I like Islam a lot, but I don't think anything needs to be provable in order to be absorbed. You see, maybe it's just there to help people that need.
And of course, there are other things that some things that are in there about how the baby first forms in the mother's womb. Who would have thought that in the 600s? Who would have known that?
I don't know. I didn't read that part.
Yeah. Well.
Is it?
Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah.
It may use different metaphors for it, but when you think about it, it's there.
Well, it's important. Yeah, it's an important spiritual topic.
Yeah.
Otto Roth talked about it,
and that's
because the whole idea brings up the question. Okay, I formed, and it was from at the egg, and I had a birthday, and I formed. But where did this awareness come from? Where did this I am come from? Where did this me come from? Where did it start? Because, as Newton said to Leibniz, we are not witnesses to our own primitive being, and therefore, regardless of what point you want to pick along the stage of development of the fetus, you can't say that and you can't say that it wasn't there before. It's just so we feel. I think human beings naturally feel immortal because they can't mark the beginning of themselves, and so the idea of dying is just absurd. It creates an absurd situation that is naturally fearful, regardless of religion. And I know many religions provided some solution to this problem, but taking religion out of it, it's an existential human problem that's every human being.
The rest I've been involved in have been easy.
I just
that's very different.
Find it fascinating that we have this mystery. We are at bottom. We are mystery. We really don't know. We don't know anything. But we know we don't want GMO products.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of. Those are some things I'm writing about now because.
Hey, Jesse or Takira, one of you guys want to come hold the sign? Art, sorry.
What I wanted. You know what they do in South Asia is they just hold up. I mean, if you're afraid of putting your mouth on it or something, what do you do? I'll just hold up to my mouth and hold it, and I won't put my mouth on it. And then here, I'll hold your camera.
Yeah, I'm plugged into my power pack.
So it would be like. Did I do that right?
Yeah. I'm trying to extend my one battery.
Here, I'll give you that.
So I have this power pack that's in my backpack. So that's why the cord's coming out.
That's why the cords.
Yeah. See, I read.
You were saying that we can do a change to the guard. Two of us.
It's called a power bank.
And you can carry it, and it gives you how much
It's supposed. I'm still experimenting with it. Whether if you plug it in at the beginning, while you got your batteries full of juice, or
how many batteries do you have?
It looks like this. But I got it run through the hole, so this can stay in the backpack in that little pocket, and then zip it up. Now this was originally, I guess, designed for someone with an iPod, and then they run the earphones out this little hole. But I choose to repurpose it.
I'm going to take a quick walk. I'll be right back.
We haven't seen them, so I think we're just going to go.
Who are these people?
They're food presents.
Ooh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that is freaking awesome. That's gone around several times.
Capture that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we should.
Maybe we're at the wrong place.
Which way?
Well, I'm sure they would need to do it
We're
at the
going back.
Capitol.
Sort of plan.
What was supposed to go down at 1:30?
Wait, oh, you need to be somewhere else.
Action is
Oh, by your bay.
other side of the stadium.
I can drop you there.
The one tonight is the west side.
Yep.
Someone misprinted something east side, but no, People's Park is on the west side,
Okay, yeah.
where the big map is.
Yeah, just like information for Italian people who are interested or something.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. People's Park is on the other side.
Yep.
I need to gather my things. It's purely intentional. I disrespect it. All right. See you guys later.
Bye. Bye, guys. See you at dinner.
Some of the others are taking off, and have to go elsewhere, do other things. I might not even go home because what's the use of going home if I'm not going to be able to spend much time at home?
Yeah.
And
You should just come to the worker at 4.
yeah,
Get some food and then come back.
yeah, and of course I brought those
Yeah.
to use tonight.
Yeah.
And,
feeling very tired. I'm glad we came. Like, that there were as many of us that came.
Yeah, maybe too.
What do
I-
you do here?
what do I do here in town?
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Well, I can't get a job
Yeah.
because I apparently am no longer a citizen.
How are you no longer a citizen?
Well, I applied to be a CDAC provider. I don't know if you know what CDAC is.
I don't know what it's
It's consumer-directed attendant care, which is kind of like a personal assistant type service for disabled and elderly in their homes.
Yeah.
And I applied to be a provider. You know, I had done some private duty stuff for a little while until my client got on to get the state-funded stuff, state-funded service. And at that time, you get service from independent providers. But then those independent providers have to find their own clients. And I thought, well, that's stupid. How am I supposed to know who needs the service? How am I supposed to know who could bill
See that?
Medicaid for it? But then my citizenship got questioned on the application, even though the background check supposedly came back clean, other than the fact that I had been arrested a few times for trespass during protests.
Where are you from, the U.S.?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah. And then
And then last November, you know, before the election, I had checked something on, well, actually in October, I checked something on the internet. And I thought, well, this is weird. It says I'm not registered to vote.
had you been registered previously?
Oh, yeah. I even took part in the caucuses.
So strange.
And so I went to the auditor's office the day before the election. Bad move because it was packed like whales in a sardine can. And I said, I saw this online that I was not registered. Is it because of loss of citizenship? And he said, yes.
It's because of loss of citizenship.
Yeah. Technically, apparently, a natural-born U.S. citizen is not supposed to lose their citizenship or face deportation. Even if they commit treason, they could just be put in prison for life.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's in addition to losing your right to vote. And if you're convicted of certain felonies, you can't get jobs. And, you know, because I don't know if I have a felony on my record. No one's ever told me that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as far as I know, just the trespass charges.
Wow, loss of citizenship.
Yeah. So I figured, well, screw that. If our rights get taken away, why bother trying to get it back? So I'll just consider myself a sovereign person.
Yeah.
So every time I've gone to court, I tell the judge, I tell the prosecutor, I'm not a citizen. And in the last case, when I was told that I would be having a court-appointed attorney, the guy who assigns the attorney said, you're a sovereign citizen, you're a sovereign person. I said, yeah.
So they didn't appoint you in court appointed.
Oh, yeah, they did. And I told her that, you know, I don't have citizenship anymore. So I consider my birth certificate no good. I consider my Iowa ID no good, even though it doesn't expire until March of next year. Well, because only a citizen can have a state-issued ID or driver's license,
It's not true.
or a legal resident.
Yeah, legal resident.
But so I don't even think I'm a legal resident. But if I get deported, where would they deport me to?
Yeah.
A Spanish-speaking country where I would fit in because I speak Spanish?
Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah. Yeah, I studied in high school and college, spent a month in Mexico back in '86.
Are you from Des Moines? Or you were from Omaha?
Yeah, I was born in Omaha. Then I moved to eastern Iowa for a couple of years. Then back to Nebraska for 4 years. Back to Iowa to finish, 5th through 12th grades. And then I went down to Arkansas for 3.5 years. And it was during that time that I got to go to Mexico.
Oh, you went to, were you a Razorback?
No, I was a Bear. University of Central Arkansas in Conway.
Cool. In Conway?
Yeah, the Dry County. Which is fine with me.
Is that near Mountain Home?
No. I think Mountain Home is east of Little Rock. But I could be wrong. I have to look
Mountain
at
Home, I mean, it is east of Little Rock. I just don't know.
Yeah, Conway is like northwest.
There's a little town called Conway right next to Mountain Home, but I didn't know that. I didn't expect that they had a college there. I'm gonna actually look this way just because my face feels like hot from listening to the sun. But I still want to talk to you. I just don't want to.
Well, that's okay.
I don't look that way anymore. So you're in Arkansas.
Yeah, I was a University of Central Arkansas Bear.
Wow.
And a little excuse for a fast food joint on the campus that you could go to if you either missed a meal in the cafeteria or the dining hall, or you had the most inexpensive meal plan, which only got you a certain number of meals a month, and you had to go elsewhere.